Mm. All right, now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 7th episode of Making It in America. Today, I have my very special guest who is Shamim Imtiaz. Shamim is a algorithm and software development engineer at iLock, who is primarily focused in machine learning, pattern recognition, and computer vision. We're gonna hear a lot about his work and also his life, how he came in Canada basically as a student, and then how he moved to US and now working in this amazing startup. So Shamim, or do you call yourself Shamim, or how do I call you?
Yeah, a lot of people know me by my last name, Imtiaz, and my name Ifti. So that's how mostly known by my name. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So, so how is it going, Shamim?
Yeah, this is going great. It was a pretty busy day in the office, and can't complain about the weather in Austin. It's summer. It's nice and warm.
Yeah. I know that you live in Austin now, right? Like you used to live in New York, right? And
Yes, yes,
recently moved to Austin.
yes.
So give us your I don't know where to start. Like give us your origin story. Like where are you born in Bangladesh? Let's start with that. Like
Yes. So I'm actually from Dhaka, and most of my childhood I lived in Kilgaon. And I studied in Kilgaon Government High School. It's a small primary school there. My major was science when I was studying there, and then I went to Dhaka College and I studied there and came out and landed in Asanullah University of Science and Technology. A proud Austrian. So I graduated from Asanullah, and then after that, my passion was always toward taking higher studies, and I was into it for a while, like a lot of research and studies, and kind of trying to decide where I'm going to land up. And based on that, I decided to like explore the opportunities where I can see myself after 10 years later. And based on that passion, I kind of like landed up in artificial intelligence work. And at that time, I still remember it's around like 2010, or yeah, if I'm not wrong, it's 2010 or 2011. In between this time, I was kind of exploring, like, what should I study? I had my engineering from electrical and electronics background from Asanullah. And I was doing a lot of independent research, plus a lot of work in signal processing. And I was thinking that what can connect this signal processing to different world. And then I slowly started knowing about computer vision, artificial intelligence, machine learning, where you can process signals, different kind of signals, and try to identify object or something like that. So from that passion, from that research focus, I started looking for opportunities in Canada, in the United States. And I got an amazing opportunity in University of Saskatchewan. So there is a lab called Multimedia Signal Processing Lab. And my professor was very renowned in a sense of working on like computer vision stuff and machine learning. And I was very lucky. I ended up there with a scholarship, and I moved down to Canada. And from there, it begins. Like after that, it was all a journey in this AI world. And trust me, it's amazing. The journey was amazing, and this topic is amazing. This study.
Yeah, no, I last time I spoke with you, I realized that you're very passionate about it. I definitely want to be inspired by that too. You definitely like love, like in general, like machine learning and what is going on. I definitely want to dig deeper on that. But before that, so your undergrad was in signal processing, and then basically you somehow like what was your master's on? What was the topic?
So the master's topic was actually like trying to identify defected tissues and polyps from like gastrointestinal images. So the research was actually a small tablet, a pill-shaped tablet. It has cameras and transceiver in it. So you're gonna solve that tablet, and the tablet travel through your intestine, from your upper intestine to lower intestine.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the entire time, it does take videos of everything, whatever it is seeing on its path.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it does do some localization of where it's taking these images from.
Right.
My job was actually to extract those images, try to find out from the frames, whatever we can see there, can I identify, infected tissues or polyp, or like cancer cell counts. So there are different stuff, different kind of features, different kind of objects that was involved in terms of how to identify them. And my job was kind of working on using computer vision sight a lot to highlight those features, because those are very dark pictures and they're traveling through your tummy. Those are not like very bright pictures. And my job was trying to identify different objects from those frames. So a lot of enhancement, a lot of image processing, a lot of segmentations, a lot of features, and then tie them up with some object detection part of it. So that's where the machine learning things come. And before that, it comes the computer vision stuff. And the reason I kind of landed up over here, so I'm pretty sure there are a lot of students out there who came from electrical engineering background, but they landed in computer science. Even some student has even phobia, like if I come from electrical engineering background, can I land on computer science or not?
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of fear. Even when I tried that, I had that fear. Like, like I'm coming out from Triple E, but is it possible for me to learn something in computer science in a 2.5-year master's degree, at the same time learning coding that I never done much when I was studying in Triple E. So I always had faith. I was trying to do independent research, as I mentioned before. So the interesting story was that, like, when we graduate from Hasanullah, so you just go through courses, but at the end of the last year, you run a project. You work on a thesis. And my thesis was actually on signal processing. So that thesis I bring up to a lot of research later on. I got some help from my juniors and as well, and they got involved in some of my work, and altogether we did some publication on signal processing. And while I was working on signal processing, I get to know about natural language processing. I get to know about image processing. Then I get to know about like computer vision. Then I get to know about machine learning. So this was the kind of the path. Like first I learned something very good, and then I was trying to explore where this each subject lands, and try to find that what interests most. And the moment I get to learn about computer vision, it was like, okay, boom, this is something very interesting, and this is something I feel that has a very good prospectus. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna jump into the ship without knowing that I don't have any background.
Okay. So I mean, I'm trying to explain me from a layman's perspective on because I'm from electrical engineering, but that's where it ends for me. So basically, my undergrad was also in signal processing. My question is like, first of all, like, how did I want to hear more of the story on like, so basically you did your master's, and then after graduating, did you know that you wanted to work on this, or like how is it related? Like that's what I'm trying to understand in terms of path.
Very, very, very good question. Very interesting question. Like I never knew that I'm going to study in signal processing. When I came out from Hasanullah, I was looking for jobs like all of the student does. I was like, okay, I have to get a job, I have to earn money, and be someone in the society. Right? Prove my parents that like I did something. In the last 4 years, and I was running behind jobs. Honestly, so that was a real story. Like I was trying to do a job. I was trying to find out whether I can land up a job or not. And interestingly, I land up on a very very weird kind of job. At least to me, is that I was a like technical marketing people. So
what does that mean?
It's like the company, can't remember the company name. It's been a long time. Oh, Data Age. Like the company name is Data Age Limited. So they sell servers.
Okay.
And my job was kind of like a from marketing people, but from technical side who understand technology.
From this is from Canada or like where
So
is
this is
it?
from Bangladesh.
Oh, this is from Bangladesh. Okay.
So that was my first job. That's
Okay.
my first job. So I landed up there,
Okay.
and being some sort of marketing people who understand technology a little bit more,
Yeah.
and try to pitch it to different companies so that they can buy servers from us. So that was like kind of my my daily objective was. I
Mm.
was trying to learn servers, how the servers work, and everything. And then when I started going to the field, like try to pitch this idea of selling these servers, I
Yeah.
was like, no, man, like this is not my work.
Okay.
I don't enjoy it. I enjoy talking, but it's like talking about a server, which I really probably don't understand the technology much. And at the same time, like I would like to build server. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna market. I don't want to be involved in marketing. I want to be involved in making servers.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
So I landed up a really wrong job, like really really wrong job. And
Okay.
then after 4 or 5 months later, I realized that no, this is not something I can do. And no, it's not a passion. It's not something I'm enjoying. And immediately I left that job,
Yeah.
knowing that I don't have anything
Yeah.
and
Mm.
try to find out like what I can do. And at the same time, I was trying to get back to my university, like a lot of lecturers and professors, like this is what I'm deciding. I don't enjoy it. I want to do something else.
Yeah.
So some of the like senior teachers, professors, they actually came along to help out with okay, whatever you did in thesis, let's work with something with that.
Yeah.
And then I started working on those things, like my thesis works and then publications. I get this position in Asano University as a lecturer,
Mm.
not for a long time, very short notice of time. But meanwhile, I was like working with different professors over there,
Mm.
doing research, try to understand what's going on.
Mm.
And yes, I was lucky that whenever I felt that this is not something that I can do, I immediately leave it. I don't wait.
Yeah.
I just I felt that thing like this is not where I belong,
That's
and I immediately left that position and tried to find out what I want to do. And from that, the thing I just mentioned, that I want to build server. I don't want to sell server. So
Mhm.
from that understanding, I was thinking that okay, this is signal processing is my strength. Like this
Mm.
is what I studied. So I was
Mm.
trying to dig up, can I do something in signal processing that people are doing very less right now? Like this is
Yeah.
lucrative research, but people are not much involved. Because when I started in AI, uh, that is in 2012. I don't think a lot of people are familiar about that time about AI.
It wasn't that popular or a fad yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right. At
Yeah.
that, it wasn't, and so I took a lot of risks at that time, in a sense that I used to like talk to my fellow colleagues and people, and we talked about like what kind of research would people gonna do, what is the future, and we talked about quantum mechanics and AI. And quantum mechanics is something that once thought that maybe I'm going to study, but then like it's so I was always in a loop of what is going on outside, out of the world, and try to understand what's the future technology.
You wanted to work in some exciting stuff.
Right.
So one thing I wanted to go a little bit deeper is that so you said that like once you know that you don't like it, like what is the pattern? I'm trying to understand your thought patterns here. Like once you uh, understand that you don't like something, you instantly decide that you'll make a switch. Uh, and so, like, how does it work? Like, have you done it before? Like, obviously, I mean, from your childhood, have you done these patterns before, or when did
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I did many times. There are many times I felt like this is not like where I belong. This is not where I am feeling connected. This is not something I'm enjoying. So like there's like a lot of examples in childhood, even in schools, or even some of the decisions that I made in life.
Mm.
Uh, so the moment I think that no, I'm not happy. For me, happiness is one of the most important thing,
That's,
and enjoying life is
that's,
another thing.
that's
Yes. So So I try to enjoy every small things that I do every day in life,
Mhm.
and I think like in a sense that when I is working somewhere for 8 hours,
Mhm.
like uh, 1/3 of the day, I'm
Yeah.
spending somewhere, and I'm
Yeah.
not enjoying for a single second.
Mhm.
That was difficult, like very difficult,
Yeah.
and like these things I think are alarming. People sometimes like don't care or try to hang on those positions and try to see the next step, and it's just go on, right? My thing is that if I see a decision that is not making sense to me, or I'm not feeling connected, or I'm not enjoying it, I try to either make the situation change, or like just leave it and go to look for something that I can connect it, that I can connect with, right? So that's the pattern.
So that brings me to a next question, which is that basically like um, that is great. It is great that you don't have that much of attachment to anything per se up to the limit when like you have only attachment with being happy. Like that is your constant.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
inherently, you're like passing through all these experiences, but
right,
your goal is always to maximize happiness and be
right,
in the moment. But
right,
it is never about you're not clinging on to something specific per se. Like for now, it is machine learning. It could change, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. This is how
right.
you are, and I'm trying to understand how you are as a person. So my like next question is that so like when so did you find any so with this all these explorations? So I would say like you are an explorer. I'm like that. So you're an explorer. Like in your heart, you're an explorer. So so um, did you find any pattern on the things you explore, the things which makes you happy? Like did you on in all these explorations? Obviously, there are some things which turned you off, and there are some things which excited you. I think
Right.
like you get to do some introspection or retrospection on like, oh, these are the things I think I like more. Do you have any patterns? You
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
did pattern recognition on yourself, not
Pattern recognition to be myself. Yeah, just so like the pattern is kind of like this. If I can work on something, or I can do something constantly for a month
mm,
with with not a feelings that I'm getting bored,
mm,
that is a pattern kind of like tells me that okay, this is something I'm enjoying. Let's say it can be a movie, it can be a book, it can be a thought pattern, it can be any kind of stuff that I'm working on, studying on.
right.
So for a month, if I see that like I'm enjoying this,
Mm,
and it's keeping me very busy, it's keeping other things out of focus,
yeah,
and I'm on it, and I'm not feeling that the times have been passing on, and
yeah, yeah.
it means I'm enjoying
You're
it.
in the flow. Yeah, you're in the flow
Yeah.
state. Um,
Yeah, so I just go deep into that top thing. So that that's how, and that's my pattern is.
I totally understand your pattern. I'll just rephrase the question. So I'm trying to find like what are the things or what are the attributes which you find those fun, like is there any
Oh
type
yeah,
of
yes, yes.
which makes you go like deeper? Do you see any
Challenges.
varieties? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So one of the thing is challenges,
Hmm.
obstacles,
Okay,
and success.
okay.
Like small success. Like I'm a micromanagement kind of guy. So I do micromanagement. Like if someone give me a big task, I kind of like
Okay.
break into
You
small
break
pieces.
it down. Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's a little bit different than micromanagement, but I get.
Yeah. So
Like,
so the thing is that so those small successes
yeah.
give me like
Mm,
it drive me to go along the way.
mm,
So
mm,
like small successes and challenges, the obstacle. Each time I cross an obstacle, each time I cross a challenge,
mm.
each time I get a success. I got a lot of failure too,
For sure, for
but,
sure.
but I got success as well, right? So I was on it, and these kind of pattern. These are the three patterns, like kind of like it was in all the events, pretty much,
Got it,
like
got it, got it.
life event or like job decision, whatever I did in my life. These three are there always.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for sharing this. This is a conversation I actually had with one of my friends, who said very similar. He's a very successful entrepreneur. He had a very similar mindset where he looks at these obstacles, small obstacles, and these are like micro obstacles, and then
Right.
runs like a loop. Like he runs the way you said, like he runs a loop of like obstacle, and then he solves it. He solves the problem, and then he
Right.
gets some kind of success. Of course, sometimes failure. But
Right.
once he runs this small micro loops, he gets like
Right.
a small boost of like,
Right.
yes, I did
Right.
it.
Right. Right.
He goes,
That's a good strategy though. Like
yeah,
it
great,
helps a lot. Like yeah.
yeah. So you have somehow hacked your like internal mechanism intentionally or unintentionally on like having fun in the process of solving problem, and
Mhm.
then like rewarding yourself as well. But thanks for like I don't want to get too sidetracked on like on like philosophical discussions which
Right.
I tend to do. But so basically you did your masters, and then tell me more. So you said like you switched from uh, like
Triple.
switch to US. When did
Yeah.
you switch to US and from your masters? Like, can you share a little bit more on that part?
Like how did switch happen from electrical engineering to computer science?
Yeah, how does switch happen? How did you go to like? How did you start working from graduating?
Yeah. Yeah.
Know a little bit more story.
Sure.
Yeah,
So like when I was working on different kind of researches that I mentioned on signal processing,
yeah,
I started getting publications.
mm,
So most of the time, like I think first few publication was most of them from conference.
yeah,
So I used to go to conference to present a paper, right?
yeah,
So when you go to conferences are like it's boring at the same time interesting place.
mm,
So you there's a lot of people presenting their researches, right?
mm,
Like and you get to sit and listen to them.
mm,
And so when I'm done with my presentation, literally I don't have anything to do without sit and listen to someone's presentation, someone's research, and get free lunch, right? Like
yeah,
those conferences had free lunch, and I
yeah,
was like, okay, let's sit and listen.
yeah, yeah.
So I used to like sit and listen to different signal processing researches going on,
Mm,
and that is the way I started like knowing these kind of areas like natural signal processing, like because there are a lot of Bangladeshi professors
mm,
who work in Canada or
mm,
US. They
mm,
sometimes comes to conferences in Bangladesh,
mm.
and they talk about their research, what they're doing in North America,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a lot of examples like that. A lot of professors out there like that. They sometimes come to Bangladesh, and you get to meet them, get to know about their researches.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I like get to know a lot of professors who are coming from like Canada, from US, from different universities,
Yeah.
and those conferences. And I was like sit there and listen to their conference, like like what they're working on.
Yeah.
Uh, what is something that like they're working on something and they're getting funded huge amount of funding they're getting as researchers. So I want to know what they're working on. So that's the passion. I kind of like go through
Mm-hmm.
those presentation processes and try to see it and listen to the researchers, and that's how I get to know about different areas like
Mm-hmm.
image processing, computer vision. And slowly, when I get to know about these words and researches, I try to from personal interest. I try to Google them, try to understand like what this thing is, and for some reason at that moment it felt like AI will be the next big thing that is coming. People are not understanding much, but there's a lot of research going on, and it will boom like within next 2-3 years. And from that understanding, and I thought like, if I'm going to study something, let's just study something good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's study something interesting. That was the point,
Mm-hmm.
because I left the job and thinking that I'm gonna do something interesting. I want to try to make myself happy with doing something. So uh, from that point of view, I decided, okay, I'm gonna go for AI. Though I'm not coming from computer science background, I have no idea about image processing, computer vision, machine learning. Even I don't know much coding at that time. I still remember like there are some coding classes that we did in Asanullah, and we had to like write code in PC. At the same time, we had to give exam by writing code in a page, like a white paper. Like people don't do it in over here. Like if you give an example exam in coding, you basically sit in front of ID and type the code, right? but we used to like write code in the paper. It was funny, but that's how my coding experience was. I didn't. I was like completely zero experience on coding.
Mm-hmm.
And from that experience, I was like, okay, I'm taking a big risk, but I will see. I will give it a try from whatever I felt about it.
Yeah.
And that thing kind of landed me in University of Saskatchewan.
Mm.
And then the first 1 year, it was so difficult,
Mm.
so difficult.
Why do
Like
you why do you say that?
difficult was because, as I say, coming from electrical engineering background to computer science,
Mm.
there's a lot of gap. Right? You did not do a bachelor from computer science, though there is overlap between these two topics, but
Yeah.
still, like, there's a lot of knowledge gap. And the problem was actually trying to fill out those gaps slowly and try to understand this AI much.
Mm.
And so first 1 year was like most of the time I spent like after study in school, or like whenever I had some free time,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like try to make myself prepared for what I'm heading on.
Okay.
And so by saying that first 1 year was difficult, but after that 1 year, study or hard work, whatever you want to say, because the topic was interesting and I was like so fascinated by it, I was like spending more time and time and time. But after 1 year, all the puzzle started making sense to me.
Mm.
So, like with me, there are a lot of students I saw going through these experiences. I still see students going through these experiences.
Yeah.
And I see people going into a very complicated topic and then lose interest and then come back
Okay.
and then switch into a different topic, right? And it happened. It's a very I think it's very common.
Yeah.
But my passion was driving me. Like my curiosity to about AI was driving me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, as I said, with the mindset of I'm going to give it a try. So I was like on it. Like I never tried to lose a track of it. I never gave up. I tried to see like how much I can grasp this work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very patient. Sometimes I was very patient in a sense, like to see like how far I can go within 1 year. And after 1 year later, it seems like okay, it started making sense. Now this world is making sense. Like a lot of things I can started like connect together, and that was a big revelation in terms of like me doing AI work. That thing I felt at that time, like after a year later, the success. I told you, like the success of connecting the puzzle was fantastic. Like it was amazing, and from that point, I started, enjoying it more and more and more and more, and I get to do a lot of publications throughout my masters, even after my masters. Like there are a few publications that happened in 2017, 2018, but I graduated in 2014. But those research was ongoing, and I was involved and did some writing on it, and then so it was an amazing journey. Like when I was done with masters, then I was like, okay, like I did something with it, and the question was, should I go for PhD or should I go for industry? Like if I learn more,
Mm.
uh, like
After graduation.
yeah, or you can like jump in industry right away. So, so from that master's degree, I kind of like, as I said, I started connecting the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
And by the time I finished, I did a pretty decent job in a sense, like connecting this world, trying to work on some algorithms, design some algorithms, and for me was like making more sense to jump in the industry and working on some practical problems, like a real-time problems where you can solve computer vision, where you can solve problems with computer vision and machine learning. Because in theory, you can come up with any idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how realistic that idea is, whether it works on a product or not, does it like make a real-time experience or not? That was very important to me. I thought like being in university for another 4 years or 5 years, finishing PhD, I can also go in another route. I can go in another route. Is not doing PhD. Let's go in a different route, like go to the industry, try to solve some real-time problems. And if I give it a try for a couple of years, and if I feel that I need to go for PhD again, if I see any knowledge gap, if I see that I need to study more, I'll go back. But if I say no, it's not like I'm feeling a different vibe. I'm gonna keep continue working. So that was kind of a vision when I finished my masters. Uh, so from that point, I started looking for jobs, and I this is the third company I'm working on actually. So this is my third job. This is the third company. Previous two company, I worked on medical company. I worked on drone company. Then I'm working right now with biometrics. So, but I think uh, my decision was uh, like favorable toward me, and it worked out. And I get to work with a lot of amazing managers, a lot of amazing and knowledgeable uh, senior research scientists who have been working on like AI and machine learning for a very long time. Um, and from them, I get to learn a lot, like a lot. And those puzzles uh, like those puzzles which are connected. Now I started I was able to see the whole picture. You know how entire system can be changed by algorithms by connecting computer vision and machine learning stuff together. And those experiences actually pushed me a lot in career. I'm gonna say I was very lucky. I worked with very amazing people, knowledgeable people, and at the same time, I was enjoying it. That's the main thing. Like I was happy. I was happy. I was very passionate toward this topic, and like whenever I was sitting in the office working on a complicated problems, I never felt bored for a single second. Still, I don't feel like still I
Yeah.
don't feel that. Like that. That's the thing. Like I think I'm extremely lucky in terms of career that I get to work on something which I'm passionate about, which is kind of my hobby, and my work makes me happy. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
It doesn't feel like work at all.
no,
So
I don't feel like I'm working at all. So
that's great. That's like the dream career goal. I'll just take it a little bit like in a different I'll angle, I guess. So like I want to know more about your like. Do you have any like? What are the biggest struggle I would say like you faced when you either moved to United States or when you moved to Canada? Both are new countries. Obviously, it's very different from
yeah,
where you grew up. It's
all right.
a developed country. You came from a developing country. There's a huge, stark difference. Um, like, what are the struggles? Is there any like turning point in your life which like which changed you
Yeah,
in a substantial way? Or yeah, do you have anything like that?
there are many of those. I mean, there are many events that changed.
Go for them. Like,
I'm gonna go for those events that I think makes more sense for this
yeah,
podcast. So,
yeah,
uh, so one life turning event was like right after when I finished my electrical engineering degree and got in the first job. That is the first turning point because if I never ever took that decision at that
yeah,
time, or if I would have taken that decision like 2 years or 3 years later,
yeah,
the story could have been completely different. So that was a
that's
very big turning point at that time. But
yeah,
the next turning point was very interesting. Like it happened in my first job.
mm,
So so after graduating, there is two complicated things that a student need to face, an international student. One is
yeah,
getting a job.
mm,
Well,
yeah,
like getting a job is one big challenge, and
absolutely,
then keeping that job is the second big challenge.
yeah, agreed,
So
agreed.
yeah, so this is the two thing. Like pretty much all international students went through it. Like getting a good job, or a decent job, or job that they want to do,
Mm,
and the second thing is keeping that job alive,
mm,
and try to learn a lot from that job. So
mm,
my first blow was actually a big turning point came in my first job when I get laid off right
mm,
after 3 months later. So
mm,
it was very interesting event. Like uh, I'm pretty sure like a lot of these things happen when you work in technical field. These things are very common. And sometimes these things have a decent reasoning. Sometimes it's just pure luck. And for me, it was a luck. Uh, it was a medical firm, and like medical, I'm gonna say medical technical firm who were trying to design a device which is driven by AI and computer vision, machine learning algorithms that is trying to project uh, like how medicine is reacting with the blood in real time that you can see in a 3D model. So, and I got hired to work on that project. But when I get the job, I hired in an R&D lab, and I was working as a data scientist over there. And while I was working on that project, there are some funding issues going on because they had two different products with different focus. And when I got hired, I didn't know what was their funding situation was on that project. So, so when I got hired, I was working, and without even thinking that 4 months later, I'm not gonna have that job. So, and unfortunately, that happened, and that entire project was shut down because of lack of funding, and the company decided to put rest of the funding to the other project, shut down this project, and whoever worked on that project, from like management level to the scientists or the engineers or test engineers, all the people got laid off. Like I think 27 employees got laid off in like one day. Like in one day, in 2 hours.
Okay.
So I was one of them, unfortunately, and it was a big blow. It was a big blow because I was going to Bangladesh to see my parents, and just before that, it happened. and with a heartbroken thing, I went to Bangladesh. Like I don't have a job. Like this is my first job, and I lose it within 4 months later. Like what the hell I'm doing? Like I wasn't. The thing is not that I wasn't working good enough. It's just like I was enjoying. I was working good, but unfortunately, they don't have any funding. It was. So this could have been a very big event in terms of I could have been felt in a different way about this whole event. I could have been like lose my confidence. I could have been like lost and go in a different track. But instead of that happening, I came back to Canada after a month later, and I went back to see my CTO of the same company. So try to understand like if the situation is going to change or is there other opportunities open up. So by saying that I'm good at networking, so I try to keep my networks always like in communication, tight communication. Like whenever I meet someone or whoever it is, whoever I work with, I always try to be connected with them. So the thing I did, a lot of people didn't did that at that time. Like 27 people got laid off, and they never went back to see the CTO or managers. But I did. I don't know what was the decision, but I did. I went to see my CTO, and I was telling that so unfortunately this thing happened, and if or any company, or if you can give me some guidance that can focus on some light on the companies, I'll be really glad. And my CTO liked the thing that I came back to see him. So hello, CMI, can you listen me? Can you listen to me? Hello. I think the communication broke for some reason. I'm not hearing anything, Siambai. Like I think some connection got broke. Like not sure.
Let me.
Yeah. Now I can listen to you. Here you go.
I don't know, some technical difficulty. Let's move on. So okay, let's continue.
sorry. Like technical difficulties.
Yeah. So like you went and spoke with the CTO. So I do that. Yeah.
So he liked the part that I came back to communicate or keep in touch with him.
Yeah, yeah.
So he immediately gave me the entire background story, what happened, why they need to lay off these people, and this wasn't the plan. The funding was there. Like he really liked my work, whatever I did for 3 months, and he immediately gave a call to a few people and saying that like I know this person, and if you guys are hiring, you can get like I can send you his resume, and he did that ultimately.
Yeah.
And by that I started like I get some new companies, get to know some new companies, gave interviews. At the same time I was looking for other opportunities.
Yeah.
And luckily, like right after I came back, within 3 weeks I get another job.
Mm.
So like within 3 weeks, so that was amazing, because sometimes it takes months and years, like when you have this blow right after in the first job within 3-4 months, it does not look good at your resume at all. At
Yeah.
all. Like it's like you're graduated from somewhere, you work for a company for 4 months, and then you don't have a job, you're looking for a job. uh, a lot of recruiter doesn't like that, and it created a really negative impact.
Mhm.
But for me, like so as I said, I never gave up working on things. So I had a lot of GitHub repositories with my
Yeah.
personal work and stuff.
You kept your profile
Yeah,
active.
so I was always like working on something. I was busy with something, like some problem solving stuff. And somehow like I so the company name is Resonant Aerospace. So they work with drone. My second company. I'm talking about my second company. So Resonant Aerospace, there is a data scientist called William Ross.
Mm.
So I get to know him basically in a competition,
Mm.
and they are trying to solve a problem.
Mm.
The problem was actually they have a drone that flies on top of the agriculture farms,
Mm.
and the focus point was potato. So they are trying to see from the drone video whether they can tell or predict these are healthy potatoes, these are not, how many crops are there, is there an insect or not. So because of like aerial images, it was noisy, distorted, and they're trying to find out whether they can detect bugs or
Mm.
insects or not.
Mm.
And he shared that problem with me, and I came up with some new ideas. So he told me that can you like write a code. I can give you some images. Can you write a code that can show me that whatever you are planning or doing it, the way you're attacking the problem, whether you can solve it or not. So
Mm.
yeah, sure, give me a database. So he gave me a database, and I worked on it for like a week.
Mm.
And I was also talking to some other people who also like work on computer vision, machine learning, try to understand, getting ideas and try to process it. And I land up in a good accuracy. I think I built an algorithm within a week that had 81% accuracy. So it can detect bugs from like hundreds of frames with
Mm.
a 81% accuracy. It can detect bugs.
Mhm.
And there was a layer of image processing, segmentation, and features. And I sent that code to them.
Mhm.
And so when they saw the code a week later, they set a conference call with the entire R&D team in Restaurant Space, so
Mm.
that I can explain them how this algorithm is working,
Yeah.
and I come up with an idea how I'm doing it, like segmenting all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like it was like an interview, but when I jump into that conversation, it was more like brainstorming, or try to understand how I came up with this idea, and what they are thinking, how to solve these ideas, and kind of connect these two to make it even better.
Mhm.
And it felt to me more like a discussion rather than an interview.
Mhm.
And right after the interview, like second day or third day, I got a call saying that they can offer me a job
Mhm.
as a data scientist in that company, and can I join from next week?
Mhm.
And I was like, yes. Problem was interesting. I really liked the data scientist named William Ross. He was a very knowledgeable person. He was very talented. There were other few people, Nabil Fantouz. He was a senior research scientist in a university.
Mhm.
So these people was fantastic, and I was like, okay, getting working with them will be an amazing opportunity, and right away jump into the ship. And There I did some amazing work. I designed few algorithms that gave me a very, very good exposure. And then this dialogue happened.
And so, so what happened? I almost said it.
After that, that's the story where end I started working on some algorithms that gave me good exposure, and that exposure actually bring me to iLog.
Okay. And where was this other company based? I forgot the name.
It's in Halifax. It's in Fredericton, New Brunswick. So in Canada, it's in Canada. There is a state called New Brunswick and a small city, Fredericton. But they are very well funded in terms of entrepreneur people. So a lot of entrepreneur people from entire Canada was moving to New Brunswick because the government was giving a lot of funds to the people to open business there. And from that, those company forms, I went there. I started working with them. Yes.
Yeah. I definitely wanna. So I wanna hear on how that you switched from Canada to US and how you moved to iLog. We'll just run a quick ad and we'll come back just within 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I mean, we're still আমি আর তুমি আছি just between you and me. So আমি একটা ad run করে আবার back করব। আমি হচ্ছে তোমার ইউএস এর পার্টটাতে চলে আসবো, তারপরে হচ্ছে we'll just have a basic মানে what's next in your life kind of.
Oh yeah, sure. Is it going good, mate? এখন পর্যন্ত?
Yeah. I'm just listening to your story. আমি আসলে তোমার ওই পোলাপান আসলে স্ট্রাগলের পার্টটা বেশি পছন্দ করে তো, so
so go to the struggle.
Yeah. So
there is struggles. But most of the job is struggles.
Most of them are career
struggle. But I can share the আপনি যদি এই পারে যেতে চান যে আমার জব স্ট্রাগল, ফার্স্ট জবটা পাইতে কিন্তু ভালো স্ট্রাগল করতে হয়েছে আমাকে. If you want to go back to focus on that topic, I can tell how did I find out that I don't know anything before going to job, and how I get to know a lot before going jumping into a job. So I can it's a very common experience. Even get me hired যারা আছে সবার এরকম একটা এক্সপেরিয়েন্স হবে আর কি. So I can share that experience.
Okay, no worries. I want to hear that. I want to keep the timeline flow to actually তারপরে তুমি মাঝখানে বলে দিও
আচ্ছা sure
that was the part.
Sure.
But we are gonna start very soon. I'm just waiting for that to finish.
I'm going to party here.
Definitely. Very soon. 10 seconds. Back. Can we go?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're gonna start in a second. All right, so we're back. I was listening to the story of Shamim, who basically came from Bangladesh to US for his master's, and then I think this is a good time to hear about how did you move from the company you were working in Canada to US.
So there is a lot of conferences we used to attend. When you work in this kind of areas like computer vision and machine learning, you go to shows to present whatever you're working on. And used to go to videos. And see, in one of the shows, I get to know about iLog. So there was two connections. One was actually for a conference, and then I found out we have a mutual friend and get to know about someone from that company. And luckily, he's a Bangladeshi guy. He was a Bangladeshi person working in iLog. His name is Mahbubur Rahman. He's, if I'm not wrong, he's from Shah Jalal University. Currently, I think he is working as an assistant professor in IUB. He's in Bangladesh right now. So he was in that company as a senior research scientist. And I get to know about, and it's you go to show, you see different products, and you get to know a lot of people. And from that point of view, I get to know about iLog and their products, and some management people, and from technical people. and I get to know him, uh, and get to know a lot of people from the company. So he kind of like my resume and the thing I kind of working on. He was like, at the same time they are trying to hire someone to work on biometrics algorithm side of it. Like, so our product actually do iris recognition. So and they want to hire an algorithm person who can design these uh, algorithms for extracting iris images from your face and then turning to a password, basically.
Okay.
So our product kind of used for vault or security devices or databases. So it was quite fascinating product when I looked at it, and from that curiosity, when he told me that they're hiring someone and like, are you open for anything? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I sent my resume, and immediately within a day, like, it happened so fast. Within a day, the team manager called me. He told me that like, I want to know more of your work that you are doing in lesson aerospace, like few of the work that I was doing, and we had like an hour conversation. And he immediately after that, 3 days later, he set like 5 interviews with all the R&D people they have, like an hour interview with everyone. And after that, they invite me in New York, like for an on-site interview. So when I went for an on-site interview, I already knew that I got the job, because like none of us taking the interview, they're like trying to know me, like how I'm a person is, right? It's not about like technical interviews or asking some technical questions. They're like all was very friendly. They're trying to know like how we work as a team mostly. And so from that point of view, I already like understood I got this job. And then like when I went back, they called me that they got this job. And like then the later process is started. So these job switches happen very smoothly so far. Like I always look for opportunities if there is something interesting out there. But most of the switches happen throughout this network. And eventually, what I see that my network becomes so big that I know a lot of people on different companies doing different interesting researches, and get to know about some amazing scientists. And so whenever I kind of look for something or not looking for something, some connections come out, and I got involved in something, some other job. So, but getting the first job was the most difficult part. Like, from first job to third job, I think, because once you get a job and you learn something, you are getting experience.
Definitely.
You don't get much struggle after that.
Definitely.
You just go along with those experiences. You know your strength, and you just capitalize on it, right? Getting the first job is the most hardest and challenging work right after you finish your masters. Because when I finished my masters, I just knew MATLAB. I just knew a little bit Python, nothing else. Like, not a lot of good libraries that comes from AI or computer vision. And I'm pretty sure almost 100% of these students are on my shoe when they come out from right after graduation. When you start looking for jobs, you just try to see that, like, there's a lot of qualification you don't have. You don't know coding in C. You don't know coding in C++. You don't know much libraries. You don't have this experience. You don't have that experience. And when I started looking for jobs, I was like, oh my God, I know nothing, right? Like, I was under the impression that I learned a lot. But now when I'm looking for a job, it's just like I have no knowledge. Like, how I'm gonna get a job then? Like, it seems like a C to me. Like, and I was so like overwhelmed. I'm gonna say very overwhelmed by whatever I need to do. And but the fun part was that, like, as I said, my passion was working in this area. So from that passion, I was like, okay, let's target one by one and try to see like whether I can gain those knowledges or not. Like, so before I graduated, I started, like, I think 6 months before I did graduate, I started like exploring like job markets and try to see like what is out there, what people are looking for. And because if the things that make me happy, if I want to work on that field, I need to learn these things because I don't know. So all these topics. So in the sense that, like, my software my software skill was weak. I like though I knew my MATLAB and Python, but still like when I look my code right now, like sometimes like I open my laptop, uh, some MATLAB code comes up that I wrote like 2012. I see those codes and it looks like garbage to me now. So I know I see a big change like after that, but I had to like learn these really uh, like most of the people who come from this background and especially from electrical engineering and then computer science, they don't know much about coding. And I had to like work a lot, like those 6 months to finish up my like it's like shaping up all this stuff so that I can by the time I graduate I'm proficient in C or as a particular language that I can use and libraries that I need to learn. And so the way I did that was funny, but it worked pretty well for me. So all my master's work or project work was on MATLAB. Fewer were in Python. So total, I think like 9 code base. They converted all that 9 code base in C. It was a challenging stuff, but first I had to learn C, basic C, C++, and try to see what libraries I can use to make these code to work. And then slowly, small by small pieces, I started turning them into C++. And that helped me a lot because those code was a fully structured code that was working on a real time for an object detection part of it. So turning those codes into C or C++ gave me a very good hand-on experience of how to write code. And there are people I try to reach out when I write code. I kind of like give them the code to have a second opinion, like how I'm writing the code, how good that code was. And so that 6 months was pretty hectic, writing a thesis, finishing up the publications, and this working on this coding stuff, converting all the code base to C. But that 6 months worth it because that 6 months landed me a job right away after graduation. Because like when you come out from graduation, you don't get much time. You have to like right after hop into something in terms of immigration or like finding a job quickly. Even sometimes situation gets so worse that you end up being a job which you don't want to, but just because you need that job from immigration perspective, you just do that, right? So if someone want to avoid that situation, they need to be prepared long time back before they graduate, like at least 6 to 8 months time period. Like they have to work so that before that times come, like what you're gonna face, and you can land up somewhere good immediately. So I think for me that helped a lot, and I try to suggest people doing that who come from a different background and then go for computer science masters. I tell them, whatever you worked on in thesis, just turn all them into the language you want. That will teach you how to code. Online, right? And try to review those code by someone so that they can teach you what you're doing wrong and how this world works. And that was I'm gonna say in terms of career, that was the most challenging part, getting a first job and then getting laid off and get the second job. And after that, like things are getting well. As I said, I enjoy my work. Every challenges, every algorithm I made, absolutely crucial problem to solve. But I learned a lot from solving those problems. I learned a lot from my seniors, my coworkers, and trying to now teach the people who work with me. I try to pass those knowledges to them. I'm still learning a lot forward. So and hopefully, I'm not sure how future gonna look like, but hopefully something good gonna happen.
Like that's I think like that's my next question is that what's the, like, I know that you're definitely enjoying your work now. Like, what are you looking forward to in the next couple of years? Like, what excites you? What excites you? Obviously, you're excited about your current job, but
so very good question. So as I said, I have some, like, I always look things in a micromanagement perspective. So when I started looking for jobs, when even I was in Bangladesh, I had to see like what I want to do 5 years later. Then after 5 years later, I started making small goal what I want to see myself in next 2 years or 3 years. So
Yeah.
thinking that line, like uh, right now, like so far I worked on medical company, drone company, biometrics. I
Mm.
wanted something. I definitely, if I take a new project or if I work on something else,
Mm.
self-driving car is something. Maybe like I,
That's-
I wanna explore that area.
mm.
Um, uh, that is something like it fascinates me a lot. Plus, some of the work from virtual reality world, like VR world,
Mm.
I think this will be a next big thing.
Mhm.
Um, so these are the two things I want to work on, and maybe like I'm kind of in an intermediate position right now. Maybe sometime like at one point I'll be senior research scientist, and
Yeah.
like move up and see maybe at one point
Mm.
if I come up with any good idea, I might open something by myself. I know I don't know, like, but these are the route I see like next happening in next 5 to 10 years. Like if I see something interesting, the idea is interesting, and I see that product in a real time market, then I might hop into something to make by myself.
No, that's great. I'm also like excited on what you choose next, because I feel like that would be interesting just for you, like obviously, but also for me to see because you definitely changed your like interests on time, and like obviously there are some patterns here that
Yeah.
you will probably stick to this like AI as a. It seems like it is your long term love, AI.
Yes, yes, kind of.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so but definitely it's a moving field. So if you are interested in it, like you'll probably never get bored. But I'm excited on what's your next career move. Do you have any? I mean, we have a lot of from the audience, a lot of people who are international students, who are just like graduating
Mhm.
soon or like will have graduated recently. Do you have anything for any advice for them, except like the one you said that you have to prepare a little bit early? Do you have or like do you have anything to say to your younger self? Like how could have you done better? Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
very interesting question again. Siamba, you are really good at questioning. Right? I have to say that, like
Thank
you're
you.
asking questions bang on.
Thanks.
Like so, if I can go back and do things differently, or if I wanna like suggest anyone like
Mm,
things in a specific way that can help them, like the first thing I will say that like try to understand where you are at in
mm,
terms of what do you know, like be just honest about yourself, don't fake it out, like
yeah.
try to understand like okay, this is your strength, this
Mm,
is your weakness, and this is where you want to see yourself, right?
yeah.
And if you want to see yourself really there,
Mm,
then how you have to go there,
mm,
and don't run for it right away. Try to break things up. Like if you know like these things are your strength, these things are weakness, and if you turn your weakness into strength, then
yeah.
you will be able to go there, and just divide this path into small goals and
Mm,
work on it.
mm,
But first, be honest with yourself.
mm,
Like if you're not being honest with yourself, no
mm,
one will be, and you know yourself better, right?
mm,
You because a lot of people try to see that what they want to take a second hand opinion, like
mm,
what do you think about me, what do you think my strength, no, you will be the only person who knows your strength, so
yeah.
you need to know that
Yeah.
and work on it in a small goals trying to reach there.
Mm,
And these things is important, like try to know your strength and try to see where you want to go, and then work on it, and be persistent about it.
mhm,
uh,
mhm.
so if someone can follow it, they will land eventually somewhere really good, like there is I have no doubt about it. And as I said, like I'm lucky in a sense that the work I do, this computer vision and AI world that I'm exploring,
Mm,
uh, I'm passionate about it. It makes me happy. So I was lucky that I got a job like this,
yeah.
or a career like this. So try to find something like that. Like if you work on something that you are passionate about, you don't need to run for money, you don't need to run for anything. Like everything will learn behind you. Like
Yeah.
you just need to make sure that you are running towards something which makes you feel happy, and you are passionate about things, that thing. Then I don't see any point of someone being failed to anything or any particular project. So uh, that would be my only advice. And people like us is always there to help juniors and anyone that comes out of it.
That is a great advice, Shami. Actually, that I really like the part where you said that like don't ask other people on what your
Yeah.
strengths are. Like that is the
Yeah.
you live in your body whole entire life, so you probably know it the best on what you're good at, and like know that and focus on that and using that try to find happiness. Like that's
Right.
the
Right.
combination. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's a great advice actually. Like I really like um, this is something for me to like something to learn as well. So I mean, thanks a lot, Shami, for like taking your time and like sharing your story like a brief. I mean, it's very difficult to extract the entire life in just an hour of conversation, but I got like a little bit more idea about you. I definitely want to keep tracking you on how you do what you do in your next career move. Um, for students, Shamim is a like very inspirational character in terms of like on one on the jumps he made in his career and like people as he said like thanks a lot for like being open to helping the younger versions of you. You know, like there are many young kids who are basically just like a younger version of you. So
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
in different body, but
Yeah.
but thanks a lot for saying that as well. So yeah, I mean, thanks a lot for coming, and I'll we'll be in touch, and that's it. That's it from my side.
Thanks, Yambai, for inviting me in the podcast. It was really nice talking to you and whoever is watching. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and for the audience, thanks for listening. We had some minor technical difficulties, which we will definitely keep improving. So I'll see everyone again next Thursday, like we every Thursday night we are doing this podcast. So that will be our like we're trying to. This is our. We started this kind of like as a like a test run, but this is already our seventh episode. So we're like it looks like it's gonna stick. So thanks a lot for sticking with me and us in general, and hope to see you guys again next week. So like bye and bye, Shakil. Bye
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye, Yambai. Take
Okay,
care.
thank you.
Bye.
Um, Shami,